To explain the brake mechanism a little bit more, you can see this is a bogie that I've already built up, and just to get an idea of the detail on it, it's the brake shaft is aiming at 20 degrees down. That's to keep it in line, so to keep the brake shoes in line with the wheel, so that it's pressing on the wheel at right angles. That means it has to be straightened up here on this operating mechanism, and that then has to go straight across on this connecting lever to the other side. Plus, as you can see here, I hope you can anyway, the lever here is what pulls the brakes on and off. You need as much leverage between that point there, which is on the brake shaft, and the connecting point underneath. And the way they've done that to get the most leverage is they've lent it over by 45 degrees, and then that pulls to the mechanical mechanism that's on the car. So to make this work, on the already manufactured, this is the zinc 4 3/4 inch gauge version, which I'm replacing. They've lent this over, the square piece over by 45 degrees, and then drilled it to give that canter on the operating lever. I've got some 3/16 keyway steel, and this is, you can get it from Home Depot. So what I do is I cut these pieces off the end. I then look at here, brake beams are both pointing down, and actually that angle there is 20 degrees. These pieces, they're going to be brazed onto the brake beam, and they're going to be up like that because the thing has to be at 45 degrees, and this has to be flattened out here, and then a hole is drilled in it there. I'll show you how to do it. My protractor here, 20 degrees, and that's what I set in the vise before I file a flat on these pieces. I place my little piece of metal in here, but I do it so that the ridge of the top edge is 20 degrees up. So I place this in here like this, and I use my square against here to get the angle right. See, I've got too much of an angle on it right now. And there I am. And it'll be at 20 degrees. So now I've filed that down, you can see the angle that I've created on here. That's the angle I've created, so they can sit on the brake beam like that. If you look at the original manufactured brake beam, you had this hole in it for the operating gear. I need to measure this hole from the back edge here to get a similar distance for my little adapter piece here. So what I do is, crude straight edge, I put it on the edge of the bench here, and then I measure it out here to the center of that hole, and that is 11/16 to the center of the hole. I pre-measured it, just showing you how I do it. So, and then I do my usual, blacken it up a bit. Now I have to make sure I've got the right tilt. I want to drill this side and really want the hole that side. I want it to be the same as this one here, and I want it to lean that same way. So this brake's go on here, the hole needs to go in here, which is the right side. I've already marked it up as. So what I do is I place that on there like that, hold it carefully with my thumb and measure 11/16 and then mark it with the scriber. So now that I've marked this piece, I need to centre pop it. I first mark it slightly in the middle with the scriber, then I centre pop that mark. What's great about the way this works is that it drops into the scriber mark, which I can see more clearly. Then I just centre pop it, and now I've got the centre pop I can drill to on my drilling machine. I place the piece to be drilled into my machine vise. And then make sure it's carefully lined up. And drill it. I've drilled a hole, as you see there, in the extension piece. I've wired it up. It all looks rather elaborate because I've got to keep the back end of the piece down as well as the front end of the piece steady. But that's how it's going to go, and I'm going to go over and braze it onto the shaft. Here's the piece now brazed onto the cross shaft of the brake. And what I'm going to do is assemble it into the bogie just so that I have an idea that everything's working okay. So I get a sense of what I need to fettle, etc. Place that in there, like that. It's always a little bit fiddly to assemble these brakes because they go together like a bit like a Chinese jigsaw. Lots of pieces to fit together all at the same time. And then the final cross piece goes in there. That's only just temporary. Now I can see that these are operating nice and smoothly. There's no jamming in it. Same on the other side. You can see that there. Nice and easy. All a little squidgy still. That's to compensate for going over bumps in the track.